Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome to our 2021 virtual annual conference. I'm Catherine Monet, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Coalition for Homeless Veterans, and I'm really excited that you can join us this week virtually so that we can be together, even while we're all still apart. COVID-19 was, I think, a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. I cannot think of another time during my life where it felt like we were just standing helplessly as people who we knew and loved succumbed to a deadly virus. And I know the threat of the virus felt dangerously close for those who were unsheltered or in crowded shelters. I'm proud of all of you for the dedicated work that you did and continue to do on the front lines during the pandemic. And I'm thankful for each of you and the work that you do to help veterans move from homelessness onto permanent housing. We know that even before the pandemic occurred, veteran homelessness increased slightly, making the next few years a critical time in national efforts to address this problem. We are here this week to talk about how we utilize the lessons learned during the pandemic to help us chart a new course. A course based on the parts of the roadmap that we know got us to where we needed to go previously. A course based on an understanding that we need to design solutions to meet the needs of veterans who've been minoritized, marginalized, or underserved. A course based on the shared values of partnership, innovation, and research incorporated into everything we do. And the course that includes the input of people we are taking on the journey from homelessness to housing and relies upon their lived expertise. Here at NCHV, we're pleased to see the current administration reprioritizing veteran homelessness once again. We know that was a part of the prior roadmap on veteran homelessness that proved successful when we were seeing major declines in homelessness annually. And we hope to see this approach emulated again from this administration and this cabinet in particular. We're also pleased to see the return of a focus on evidence-based practices such as Housing First, and to see HUD and VA indicate in a joint statement that they would continue to rely on key programs such as HUD-VASH, SSVF, and GPD to offer low-barrier housing-focused assistance for veterans. This is our year. It truly is. It's our year to turn this once-in-a-lifetime crisis into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build a brighter future for veterans. A future where none have to make the hard choices between putting a roof over their head or food on the table. And as communities turn the corner on infection rates and vaccinations increase, many are starting to lift emergency declarations, tighten access to unemployment benefits, and wind down state-level eviction, foreclosure, and utility shut-off moratoria. With the impending expiration of the CDC's national eviction moratorium, this could result in an unprecedented wave of homelessness. And that's worrisome. But I take solace in the fact that I know all of you are ready to stand and assist. You're ready to coordinate resources in your community, and you're ready to help veterans to the best of your ability to move into housing. Here at NCHV, we'll continue to work to ensure that you have the resources you need to do your great work in your community, and we'll continue to ensure that you have the support that you need to do it well. We've been pushing to get programs funded via non-emergency appropriations to provide you with the certainty you need and the ability to plan. We've been pushing for the extension of key authorities, such as waivers on match and recapture reimbursements for GPD capital grants, extending the enhanced per diem rate, expanding the shallow subsidy program in SSVF, and many other resources to support the development of affordable housing for all. The one thing the pandemic laid bare is that everyone deserves the safety of a home. Most of us want the best for our family, yet our country remains amid a housing affordability crisis that affects veterans and civilians alike. We need to rewrite the rules so housing is considered a right, especially for veterans. You all know that in the last decade, rental prices have increased by 66%, while the federal minimum wage has done nothing. It's stagnated. We know Congress can make meaningful progress toward ending homelessness for everyone by enacting legislation to make housing a right with subsidies for all who need them, and we need your support to get that done. We know that Congress can do a lot related to VA-specific programs, but we need your support to get that done. And we hope that you will continue to work with all of us here at NCHV and our policy and advocacy team to make this a reality for the veterans we serve. It's evident to all of us that people of color have been disproportionately impacted by COVID and the economic crisis it's caused. They're also disproportionately represented among the homeless population. As we work toward a recovery, we need to ensure that all responses to this pandemic, future emergencies, and any general programs that we create from now on are developed to equitably center the needs of veterans who have been minoritized or marginalized or left behind. We need to examine what systemic and institutional factors have contributed to this phenomenon so that we can really rewrite the story for future generations of veterans. We need to do better at reaching populations that haven't been reached and closing service gaps for those who may need different resources than we currently have available. And we need to intentionally create space to hear and act upon input from veterans with lived expertise of homelessness. This week, you'll hear a lot about this and then some, and we're really excited that you're coming on this journey with us. I'm going to take a minute right now to thank the partners that help us put on this event for you. We are incredibly grateful for the support of the Home Depot Foundation, Citi, the National Equity Fund, Bob Woodruff Foundation, Convenience Kits International, Cerner, and Pulse for Good. Without their support, we would not have been able to put on this wonderful event for you. So we hope that you enjoy this week, that you walk away from this week learning things, growing, understanding more about the veterans you serve, and that you walk away ready, right? Ready to seize the moment, ready to take advantage of all of the things that you've learned and figure out how to use them to make a better environment for the veterans in your community. I hope that throughout the week, you'll go on the conference app, you'll share on social media, and you'll tell us not only what you're learning, but what you think we should be keeping from the things that we've done in the pandemic and what gaps you're still seeing in your community so that we can do our very best collectively together to close them. Thank you for being here. I look forward to seeing you throughout the course of the week.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trisha Yarger, a director in the Northeast region for Citi Community Capital. We are honored to be a part of this year's National Coalition for Homeless Veterans Conference, and we are proud of Citi's commitment to support and invest in veterans and their families. We recognize the value of service, and I personally know this firsthand from my dad, who is a proud Vietnam vet. Citi has a rich history and strong commitment to supporting veterans. Citi was one of the first financial services companies to launch an official military veterans network for our employees. Our partnership with Bring Them Homes was established in 2012 to provide pre-development grants to projects targeting veterans. Through this partnership, Citi has invested over $4.5 million to date, creating over 5,800 units of supportive, affordable housing, the majority reserved for veterans who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. Citi is also the largest affordable housing lender in the United States and has been for the last 11 years. In 2020 alone, we financed over $7 billion in affordable housing for families and individuals with low to moderate incomes. This includes over $800 million to finance affordable and supportive housing targeted specifically to veterans over the last 5 years. One of those developments is highlighted in the video to follow and is an example of our work with veterans, a housing development called American Gold Star Manor. Gold Star Manor is an affordable housing development primarily for seniors, with a priority for mothers who have lost sons or daughters during military service, as well as for U.S. veterans. This facility in Long Beach, California, was built in 1975 with 348 units. Through the recent renovations, the affordability of the apartments is preserved, and the facility is sustainable for veterans and their families for years to come. Thank you and enjoy the conference.
I think right now we're at a point in this country where the cost of housing has outgrown the pace of people's incomes. To do anything in life, you have to have a sense of security, and people can't do that if they don't have a safe and secure environment. And I think it's important for City Community Capital to step up, that we finance affordable housing that are much needed in our community.
The American Gold Star Manor is the pearl of Long Beach. This building is primarily for seniors with a priority for American Gold Star mothers, women who lost sons or daughters in the military. We also have U.S. veterans who have a permanent place to stay.
I wake up every morning and I'm grateful that I'm here. We're in the middle of the city, and yet you feel more like you're out in the country.
This is like my family. I call this my American Gold Star family here.
City has a long history of supporting veterans through our citywide initiative called City Salutes. And one aspect of that program is also grants for affordable housing projects for veterans and their families.
We worked with City Community Capital to bring the resources needed to revitalize American Gold Star Manor, to rehab it, to extend the useful life of the building, to deepen the affordability for the residents who were living there, and to ensure American Gold Star Manor would be sustainable over time.
We're just like family here. That's the best, because when my husband died, I thought I'd be alone, but it seems that the support of everybody is so comforting that grieving is in a minimal. This place is very special because we can afford to stay here at American Gold Star Manor.
It's really that public sector investment, that it's matched with the private sector subsidies that allow us to be successful in our work.
Our job is to be the best for our clients by providing them with financial services, being fast, responsive, and responsible. And I think what we're doing here at American Gold Star Manor is crucially important.
We cater to those who made sacrifices for their country, and now we take care of them because they took care of us.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm VA Secretary Dennis McDonough, and I'm grateful to be with you as you begin your critical work this week, because there's no issue more important than this one. Here's why. President Biden has said that our country's most sacred obligation is to prepare and equip the troops we send into harm's way, and then to care for them and their families when they come home. Well, veterans' homelessness is our nation's single greatest point of failure in fulfilling that sacred obligation. Every person should have a home. Every veteran should have a home. Veterans served this nation, made the enormous sacrifices they have made, gave what President Lincoln called the last full measure of devotion so that no one would be homeless. Given the extraordinary wealth of this country, the immense resources, tangible and intangible, it's a tragedy. It's an avoidable tragedy at that, to have any people in this country without homes. And I intend to fight like hell every day so we bring an end to veteran homelessness. As you know well, there is a lot of work ahead of us. Veteran homelessness has decreased by 50% since 2010. Largely thanks to your excellent work. So we know what's possible. But nearly all that progress was accomplished between 2010 and 2016. And in January 2020, before the pandemic hit, when too many were talking about a rosy economy, there were more veterans experiencing homelessness than in the year before, not fewer. Nowhere are the challenges of the last 4 years more evident than in LA, where the redevelopment of our West LA campus has languished amid one of the worst vet homelessness crises in America. Senator Feinstein and Representative Liu laid it bare in the Orange County Register. In LA, they wrote, more than 3,900 veterans are living on the streets, nearly 1 in 10 of all homeless veterans nationwide. 1 in 10. Here we are, midway through 2021, and only 54 of 1,200 planned permanent supportive housing units on our West LA campus have been completed. 5 years. Only 54 units. We have to move faster. There are a lot of reasons for the delay, and we're going to solve them. We're going to drive progress on a successor master plan. I'll sign it before year's end. We'll take to heart what veterans, their families, the community, and our Federal Advisory Committee on West LA recommend. As Senator Feinstein and Representative Liu explained, the West LA VA campus has the potential to serve as a model for the nation on how to address veteran homelessness. It's not a model yet, but I am committed to making sure it is, because it will have an outsized impact on veteran homelessness in broader LA and help us regain momentum across the country. It will help us get back the success we had in the beginning of the last decade. Listen, I know you're in a marathon, not a sprint. Most of you have been running hard for a long, long time without rest. And here I am, just stepping into the race. But I'm joining when we have an opportunity, a once-in-a-generation opportunity, to make substantial, lasting strides. That's thanks to you and your collective experience and commitment. The strong support of the President, who's seeking an increase of over $300 million in resources to fight homelessness in his new budget. The support of Congress, who have invested funding to fight homelessness in the last 2 years and hopefully are poised to enact President Biden's request in his new budget. And our strong partnership with HUD and Secretary Marshall Fudge. Secretary Fudge and I are aligned in our efforts, and we're joining forces, mobilizing our departments to ensure every veteran has access to safe and stable housing. We're prioritizing the push, shaping and executing a joint plan to achieve lasting results as quickly as possible. We'll seek your feedback, taking careful inventory of lessons learned. We'll evaluate current strategies and execute best practices more broadly, effectively, and efficiently. And as we find new evidence-based approaches that work, we'll implement them too. That's why the work of our National Center on Homelessness Among Veterans is so important. They're working to translate research into real-world solutions that optimize care. Already this year, the center has collaborated with 10 universities and produced 45 peer-reviewed studies. And with HUD, Housing First will remain our flagship because we know it works. We're investing more in HUD VASH because of people like the formerly homeless veteran Charles Farley from Cheyenne, Wyoming. Charles said that HUD VASH is one of the best programs VA has had because it's helping veterans find homes and get off the street. It helps our veterans a lot, he said. But we've had a HUD VASH deficit that's keeping us from filling as many vacant case management positions as we need. So we're prioritizing HUD VASH hiring with success. We're at 88% of positions filled, a net gain of nearly 200 case managers providing services to over 4,000 veterans we wouldn't have otherwise reached. And in President Biden's FY 2022 proposed budget, we're seeking a $45 million increase over this year to help fill other HUD VASH staffing shortages. Our Homeless Program Office is also exploring ways to use American Rescue Plan funds in partnership with our Office of Geriatrics and Extended Care to support the growing population of older veterans and homeless programs. Think of that for a second. Concepts you would have never thought of. Older veterans and homeless programs. In October, VA medical centers will contract for HUD-VASH case management services everywhere. Here's what else Charles will tell you. One of the main problems is with landlords who won't take HUD-VASH vouchers, he says. And he's right. We have to get more landlords honoring veterans by honoring HUD-VASH vouchers. And we will. These HUD-VASH pushes will expand our capacity to serve more homeless vets. Supportive Services for Veteran Families, SSVF, will continue to be a critical part of helping veterans out of homelessness. Marine Corps veteran John Jackson will tell you that SSVF is instrumental to finding stability. In 1998, after tragedy hit his family, John became chronically homeless, moving from couch to couch, state to state. Not too long ago, he found his way to a Salvation Army shelter in Jacksonville, Florida. Thanks to outreach and collaboration of the Salvation Army, Catholic Charities of Jacksonville, and our SSVF partner Changing Homelessness, John has an apartment and a steady job with good pay. He's doing well. In the next few weeks, he'll be back on his own. And those SSVF funds will be available to help another veteran in Florida. And alongside HUD-VASH and SSVF, Grant and Per Diem will remain VA's largest transitional housing program. Army veteran and combat medic Luis Alvarado says that Grant and Per Diem is amazing and has done wonderful things for me. And a proposed increase of nearly $2 million next year will help us continue to enhance this program that has meant so much to veterans like Luis. When he fell into homelessness in Puerto Rico, our team at the VA Hospital de Veteranos in San Juan put their arms around Luis and leveraged Grant and Per Diem to help. They moved heaven and earth to help me, Luis said. VA social workers got Luis into temporary housing with Grant and Per Diem partners at Hacienda de Veterano in Caguas, Puerto Rico. HUD-VASH vouchers got Luis into permanent housing. And they worked together to help Luis into VA apprenticeship program at the Puerto Rico National Cemetery. Today, Luis has been discharged from the homelessness program. He's paying his own rent. He's permanently employed. He went from apprentice to GS6 in no time flat. And he's getting ready to take the cemetery director's course. Charles, John, Luis, they're living proof among the thousands that evidence-based models work. They move people from homelessness to housing. They provide immediate access to housing and connections to services that ease transition to stability. They answer the needs of people who are briefly homeless from a string of bad luck, as well as the needs of veterans who've been on the streets for years. And they've been especially important during the COVID-19 pandemic. To reduce the risk of COVID-19 exposure for vulnerable vets, there have been almost 27,000 motel placements, part of the coordinated national response supporting homeless veterans since the very beginning of the pandemic. Our healthcare providers, homeless program office staff, social workers, and all of you continue Herculean efforts in the pandemic fight. And we're seeing promising signs. More and more veterans vaccinated. Fewer infections, fewer deaths. And Homeless Program Office has been working hand in glove with partners inside VA, and they worked with federal partners outside VA, HUD, Health and Human Services, the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, and the Centers for Disease Control. Over 76,000 of the homeless veterans we serve have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine. And I know many more you serve have been vaccinated. And to minimize the risk of social isolation and missed healthcare appointments, we've shipped over 31,000 smartphones for distribution to homeless vets. 2 new contracts will add nearly 30,000 more to help vets stay engaged with their healthcare providers. They will help vets continue attending virtual groups and recovery programs. They will help vets with virtual housing and job searches. And they will help us monitor the well-being and safety of those veterans. So, our pandemic response strategies will continue evolving based on science and the needs of communities supporting homeless veterans. But we all know the fight is far from over. The effects of the pandemic will reverberate long after it's gone. And there are challenges ahead, among them the end of foreclosure moratorium for VA home loans and the broader eviction moratorium at the end of this month. We have a dedicated team of representatives ready to support veterans with options to help them retain their homes and avoid foreclosure. We recently announced a temporary program to assist veteran borrowers specifically impacted by COVID-19 pandemic to help them get back to regular pre-COVID mortgage payments after exiting forbearance. And we're developing additional options to assist veterans who might need lower mortgage payments. Any veterans with a mortgage challenge should reach out to us immediately at 877-827-3702 so they can see how we can help them. For the eviction moratorium, we're concerned about the possibility of a wave of new homeless vets. So we're going to do everything we can to prevent that from happening. That's why we have dedicated funding that SSVF grantees can prioritize to answer needs as they arise. Because we are unwavering in our commitment to helping every veteran we can. Before I close, I want to leave you with a quick story. The other day at a vaccination event outside our headquarters in the capital city of this wealthy nation, a homeless vet showed up to get his shot. He wasn't wearing shoes. We got him vaccine, and our amazing canteen staff got him a new pair of shoes. On the one hand, it's heartwarming, indication of great generosity. On the other hand, it's heartbreaking. That man served our country. He should at least have had shoes on his feet. He should at least have a roof over his head. The fact that he didn't is our nation failing to meet its most sacred obligation. On Memorial Day, President Biden reminded us we owe the honored dead a debt we can never fully repay. We owe them our whole souls. We owe them our full best efforts to perfect the union for which they died. And in the final analysis, that's what our work together is about. Helping this nation perfect our union by fighting for the veterans who fought for us. By making sure that people like the man at the vaccination event in D.C., people like Charles Farley, like John Jackson, and like Luis Alvarado, have shoes on their feet, roofs over their head, and a bright future. I'm so proud to work with you to make that happen. God bless all of you. May God bless our troops, our veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. And may we always give them our very best.
Thank you, Secretary McDonough, for your remarks today. We appreciate your leadership and we look forward to working with you to end veteran homelessness. Earlier in this segment, I talked a little bit about our commitment to ensuring that research and evidence-based practices are a part of any path that we chart forward. And so as a part of that, and as a part of our commitment to that here at NCHV, we will be sharing research every day from VA's National Center on Homelessness among veterans to help you better understand how you can incorporate their research into your work. The way this will work is that there will be an infographic shared both on the conference app and on social media to direct you back to resources that you can look at on your own time to understand best practices of the day and best practices that particularly relate to the path that we want to chart forward. So today's daily research drop focuses in on lessons learned from the COVID-19 pandemic. I would love to hear from all of you on social media what you find most relevant, what you think is important, and how you all plan on incorporating some of these learnings into the work that you do. I now have the distinct pleasure of giving out an award because we're doing those every day too. So today I'm giving out the Partnership Award to the Housing Authority of the City of Milwaukee for the Old Soldiers Home development that they just opened this May, last month, very recently. It's 100 units of project-based HUD-VASH, and it's been highlighted as a best practice because of the innovative funding sources that they've used in addition to, the normal housing development funding sources you'd see. They also included some historic preservation funding and did a lot of really great things to ensure that they were able to create and provide better and affordable housing for the city of Milwaukee. So to the Housing Authority, thank you so much for all that you do. Look forward to continuing to work with you and partner with you in this endeavor. And we really appreciate your efforts out where you are. Last but not least, this is the part of the segment where I kind of orient you all to how this week is going to work, right? Because it's our first session, brand new conference. We're really excited to be here together. So every day's got a thematic focus, and we'll have an opening session for about 30 minutes, followed by a break, a 90-minute workshop slot, followed by a short break, a 60-minute workshop slot, followed by a short break, and then a wellness or movement building activity to close out the day. So some days it might be yoga or Tai Chi, other days it'll be networking so that you can really get to see your partners in this movement and be rejuvenated by your shared conversations and the shared learnings that would normally happen in the hallways of our conference and at the networking event and in other places. We're doing our best to create a format for you to do that virtually, and we hope that you enjoy these things. On Friday, instead of a 60-minute workshop and a fun activity, we will be bringing back the Federal Partners Panel, which is, as you all know, if you've been to our conference before, my favorite part of our conference, because audience members like you get to ask questions of our federal partners who run major programs to assist veterans. So you get to understand better where they're coming from, what they're thinking about, what's going to happen in their programs, and how you can better tailor your approaches to kind of fit the needs of your veterans into what our federal partners will be doing. As you know, breaks are a really great time to visit with our exhibitors, and we do have a few of those this year. We've got Court, Pulse for Good, Convenience Kits International, and Life Startup Essentials. And each of them does have information posted on the app, and you'll see their information on social media. You also will be able to reach out and schedule one-on-one appointments with them like you would at a regular conference when you just sort of stop and talk to them at a table, right? You are able to schedule one-on-one appointments to learn more about what they offer and what they do. And I'd encourage each of you to do so because, these folks are genuinely good people who I enjoy and whose products I do support the use of. So with that, I think I am going to cut you all free from this opening session. Thank you so much for joining us this week. I am so happy that you're here. I look forward to seeing all of you over the course of the week, hearing about your impressions of what we're learning, and hearing more about what's happening in your communities. I'll see you all back here at 1 o'clock. We've got some really great workshops this afternoon on hotel-motel conversions, eviction prevention, wellness and taking care of your staff, and providing virtual health services to veterans. So we'll see you back in a little bit. Thank you so much.